There are some all-time classic documentaries that every horror fan has likely already seen. Best Worst Movie, American Movie, and Terror in the Aisles, to name a few. But what about more recent entries into the genre? Here are 10 of the very best horror-adjacent docs dating from 2012 until now. This is Gwar. Scott Barber's documentary offers a revealing, surprisingly emotional look at veteran metal band Gwar, known for its deliberately shocking stage shows, while offstage acting as crusaders against censorship while promoting the freedom of creative expression. Featuring interviews with the band's many members from over the years and a wealth of archival footage, This is Gwar is an inspiring but by no means candy-coated look at what it takes to live the dream, specifically the dream of dressing up like a monster to play heavy metal while tangling with all manner of strong personalities behind the scenes. Available on Shudder. Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched. Kirla Janice's doc runs nearly 3 hours, but it's completely worth it. It's very carefully thought out, divided into chapters that take the viewer through, as the title suggests, a lot of history, though it's not just the history of folk horror cinema, but folk horror as it appears in genre literature and even earlier in places like fairy tales, ballads, and folk tales. The mountain of material is aided by a trove of film clips and other artistic touches, including animated collages and atmospheric music. After you see it, you'll find dozens of folk horror movies vaulting to the top of your must-watch list. It's available on Shudder now. Horror Noire, a history of black horror. Here's another one we've been a broken record about. But if you haven't seen it yet, what are you waiting for? With carefully chosen clips and outstanding talking heads to illuminate its points, Horror Noire is like taking a mini film studies class, except with homework you'll actually want to do, since you'll immediately be seeking out all the movies mentioned that you haven't yet watched. It's available on Shudder. Room 237. Rodney Asher's artful and unique documentary about obsessive fans of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is fascinating on every level, offering a peek at what it really means to immerse yourself in a piece of cinema. Even if you don't agree with the interview subject's particular, and often peculiar interpretations of the film, you'll still never look at The Shining the same way again. Room 237 is available on AMC Plus and rentable on Amazon Prime. Birth of the Living Dead. An extended interview with George A. Romero, the late great godfather of zombie movies, anchors this lively look back at the making of 1968's Night of the Living Dead, as well as its enduring place in pop culture. Even those who think they already know everything about the indie horror classic will find a new nugget or two to enjoy in this informative, briskly edited portrait. Available now on Shudder. My Amityville Horror. First came the real-life mass murder, then a true tale of a haunting book, still one of America's most infamous hoaxes, then a hit movie, which in turn spawned a series of tenuously related sequels that are still being made 4 decades later. The story even got a shout-out in the blockbuster Conjuring franchise, adding yet another facet to the Amityville story, the tale of Daniel Lutz, who was just a kid when his family, the subject of that 1977 bestseller by Jay Anson, moved into the house where Ronald DeFeo Jr. killed his parents and 4 siblings in 1974. Famously, they only lived there a few weeks. But the effect of being at the center of the Amityville story haunted Lutz, psychologically speaking, his entire life, as this genuinely disturbing documentary reveals. Available on AMC Plus and rentable on Amazon Prime. Scream Queen, My Nightmare on Elm Street. This excellent doc illuminates the painful but ultimately cathartic journey of Mark Patton, star of Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Much like Patton himself, the film was misunderstood at the time of its release, but has come to be rightfully celebrated for its unique place in the franchise now that all its queer subtext is finally out in the open. Available on Shudder now. Memory, The Origins of Alien. No mere making-of documentary, this fascinating and creepy deep dive from director Alexander O. Philippe reveals layers, history, and context to director Ridley Scott and screenwriter Dan O'Bannon's sci-fi horror masterpiece that even superfans will find surprising. Available on Shudder. In Search of Darkness, And In Search of Darkness Part 2. The first entry runs 264 minutes, the sequel runs 263 minutes, and there's a third entry in the works. Look, 80s horror is just that awesome, and these clip and interview stuffed movies are so energetic and excited about digging into them that you won't even notice the runtime. Available now on Shudder. Crystal Lake Memories, the complete history of Friday the 13th. When they say complete in the title, they mean complete. This nearly 7-hour documentary offers a thorough examination of the entire Friday the 13th series, going film by film and collecting an oral history of sorts from a wide array of interviewees. The same filmmaking team also made the 4-hour Never Sleep Again, the Elm Street legacy, which came out in 2010 and is therefore not recent enough for this list, but is also totally worth your Freddy-loving time. Crystal Lake Memories is available on Shudder. Never Sleep Again is rentable on Amazon. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and check out other IO9 videos here on YouTube.